This is Richard Hayzler, proud principal of Pequannock Valley Middle School, a grade 6 through 8 school in Pompton Plains, New Jersey as part of the Pequannock Township School District. And welcome to this week's episode of Learning Sparks, where we learn and grow together, talking about instructional strategies that enhance student learning in your classrooms. Today I'd like to talk to you about an instructional strategy that's often misunderstood and overlooked when it comes to improving student learning in your classrooms, and that's reciprocal teaching. Reciprocal teaching is a 4-step close reading process that is often misunderstood because when you think about close reading and you hear those terms, you often think that, well, this is just a strategy that I can only use in language arts. And in fact, that can't be further from the truth. This is a powerful strategy that can be used in any classroom because students are reading anywhere. And we're going to take a look at a math example in a few minutes. It's often misunderstood too because it looks like a strategy in which just students are working together. And very often teachers find it hard to give up control of a classroom and just have students working with other students because they're not quite sure if the students are going to be able to demonstrate mastery that way. But that's not the case either. With reciprocal teaching, the teacher plays a key component. In fact, in Weston's book, he talks about visible learning by John Hattie. And John Hattie talks about how reciprocal teaching has a 0.7 effect size. And that means that students grow almost 2 full years when this strategy is used frequently in the classroom. And that's pretty powerful. If you haven't read John Hattie's work called Visible Learning, I highly recommend you check it out, as it gives you a variety of instructional strategies that enhance student learning. And we'll talk about them in future episodes of Learning Sparks. But when you look at reciprocal teaching, it's students supporting each other when they trade levels of responsibility with the teacher working with them. And so we'll take a look at those four steps of the process in which students predict, students clarify, students question, and students summarize. And when you look at a close reading strategy, those are all key elements of it. You want students predicting. You want them taking a look at, what's coming up here that I need to know? You want them to clarify. If they don't understand something, we want to make sure that they do. So whether they do it together in pairs or in groups, or they do it with the teacher, it's an important step of the process. Questioning. We want students to be able to design their own questions. We, as much as it's important that as teachers and administrators we're asking the questions, we want students to be able to ask and generate their own questions. And then lastly, we need them to be able to summarize, to bring everything together in one solution or one outcome. So let's take a look at an example of how we can use reciprocal teaching in the classroom. And I'm actually going to use the model that Wes uses in his book because I thought it was so powerful. When you look at a math classroom, students very often have difficulty solving word problems, and a close reading strategy can be really powerful. So let's take a look at a blended learning example. Let's say that you have a word problem that you want students to solve. For 15 seconds, you could put the problem up on the smartboard, or you could use Nearpod or another app where the students can use and see on their Chromebook devices, or just do pencil and paper, where they have 15 seconds to scan a word problem and find out what they're supposed to do. What are they supposed to solve? After those 15 seconds, they talk together in groups, and then they figure out what is it that they're supposed to solve. And then maybe you have them look at it for another 15 seconds, and then they come together and figure out if they're predicting accurately, and everybody feels that they are supposed to solve the same problem. Then the next step is the clarifying step. You show the problem again, okay, and you have them look for words that they may not understand. And then as a teacher, you go over those words with the students. They could research it on Google, and then they could put their answers in a Google Doc. And so now you have a running list of words from a word problem that maybe the entire class had trouble understanding. So now you're through the prediction phase where students are figuring out what they need to do to solve the problem. Okay? You're at the clarification stage where you're having students clarify words that they don't understand. And now the next step is the question step. Let students design 2 or 3 questions from that problem that they're looking to solve. Okay? So for example, maybe they come up with a question for a word problem with our stereotypical train example, right? And they have a problem figuring out where the first train is coming from. Okay? So how fast is the first train moving? So they come up with a list of questions that get posted in a Google Doc. The teacher can take those questions and then divvy them up among the groups and let the groups solve those different questions. So now there are questions throughout the room generated by students about this problem. Then the last piece is summarizing, bringing everything together where students are solving the problems together. And once they come up with a solution, maybe they create a video that gets posted to a Google Classroom, or they do a demonstration in front of their peers of a similar problem. Those are the types of things where now we've taken a close reading strategy on a word problem where students often find difficult, and we have them working together to come up with a solution with an ultimate outcome of them designing their own problem from a close reading strategy. That's extremely powerful. So when you look at reciprocal teaching, number one, it can be used for any discipline. Number two, it's important that teachers model it all the way through. They model the prediction phase. They model the clarification phase. They model the questioning phase. They model the summary phase. The next thing about reciprocal teaching, the third thing, is that the students are doing the questioning. Let them develop their own questions about what they're seeing in the problems. It can be a really powerful tool. Then the last piece, use technology. It's a great opportunity for you in a math class or in any class to use Google Docs or another app where students can work together collaboratively on a document. So consider using reciprocal teaching in your classrooms. It can be a very powerful tool no matter what you teach. And I also recommend check out the book Bold School by Weston Kieschnick. It's an awesome book in looking at blended learning as an instructional strategy. So thank you very much for joining us on this week's episode of Learning Sparks. Please follow me at Rich Hayzler on Twitter and keep doing what's best for kids. See you next time. Have a great day.